Stop caring about what people think, and stop thinking about what people care. People often struggle with the opinions, judgments, and criticisms of others. We care too much about what others think of us, thereby entrusting our pain and happiness to the words of others. This allows others to direct and control our emotions. Many people live their lives for how they see themselves in the eyes of others. A state of living life for others, that is, being affected by the evaluation and vision of others. Lives for praise and affirmation. Worries about gains and losses all day long, and whose self-worth is attached to the vanity given by the outside world. Have you ever had the experience that, when you walk into a space full of people, you think people are paying attention to you and judging your every move, until it makes you to be cautious and sensitive, as you worry that your behavior may leave negative impressions on others? In fact, nobody is taking serious about your presence. It's your consciousness overemphasizes the presence of others. Most of the time, humans are just suffering in their own subjective world, because humans are limited by our own perceptions and sensory experience. It can be said that we live in a world of our own subjective creation. There are 100 different versions of you in the eyes of 100 people. The world we live in is objective, but the world reflected in each of our minds is subjective, as people live based on their sensory experience. Therefore, when things involve people, the truth is no longer matters, because everyone sees things from their own subjective perspective, and what they value is important. Hence, everyone has their own version of truth. 100 people can see 100 of so-called truths. We are like the protagonists of our own forces, immersed in it, but unable to capture all the information from an audience perspective. Objectively speaking, even the audience perspective is unable to capture all the information using the senses. Human uses their senses to absorb and collect information, but the use of senses is subjective and selective, because our senses are unable to capture every piece of information due to its limited function and capabilities. Unfortunately, people rely on our senses to collect and capture information about the world. The information we ingest is then filtered through our belief system and values to determine its meaning, and therefore be stored in our brains. Our systems of beliefs, values, and cognition are subjectively formed, and therefore the meaning that filters out is also subjective. Our world is shaped bit by bit using above method, and is therefore subjective. We establish our understanding of the world through the above method, and therefore, there is no absolute reality, only subjective reality. The world everyone sees exists only in our own minds. We judge and process everything based on our brain's understanding of the world. The world is objective, but what reflected in our brain through the sensory experience is subjective. In short, it is the human brain mapping of the objective world. People rely on sensory experience to understand the world, but they are also bound by it, because sensory experience is subjective, and reality may be just a mirror image. Things never put pressure on us. Pressure comes from our reactions to things. People's opinions and criticisms can never bring you stress and trouble, but your reaction to people's subjective opinion is what brings you stress. If you care about what people judge you, what treatment or position people put you in, and eagerly seek approval from others, then you are living according to other people's expectations and letting others to dominate your life, thereby abandoning yourself. We need to learn to separate the topic or subject, realizing that people's recognition and affirmation are others' matter, not yours. It has nothing to do with me how others will evaluate or judge me. Once you confuse others' topic or subject with your own, you will suffer. Understand that everyone is the protagonist of his own life. Other than oneself could be just some irrelevant supporting roles or side characters of one's life. Therefore, don't take people's opinions and criticisms too seriously. You are not the center of attention of others' life. You are just the center of your own world, and walking on the life map you draw. Everyone lives in their own subjective world, just like a solar system, where each planet only revolves around its own sun. Everyone's life revolves around themselves, and you are just a passerby in their lives, a small episode of their life series. Most people fail to openly admit that someone is better than themselves, because nobody is more privileged than themselves in their own creation of world. Everyone in this world captures what they can see from their own perspective, and most of the time they can only see their own interest. And since people are not responsible for the impact their words may have on you, they may criticize or judge without taking any responsibility. But you are the one who needs to be responsible for your own life. Therefore, don't live in other people's world. Once you accept yourself and acknowledge your value is what people expects, then your value in reality will be what people see. Because you have convinced yourself in your consciousness that you are what people see in thought.